political season in Woodland Park. It's political season all over the country right now. I just did a couple of Trump parties down in the Springs. But the most important politics to you and I are the politics that really do affect us. And this week on the Underground, I want to talk about the 2020 Referred Ordinance Information Booklet. Thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for putting this out. They printed out a couple of things that somebody just damn texted me. Oh man. Oh shoot, I just got some crazy news. Dang, that was weird. One of our candidate, or one of our city servants, one of our city council members is not doing good. He was in the hospital. So I want to read through this booklet, but I got thrown off there a little bit. Damn it, they threw me off live. I need to turn down my text. So here we go. This booklet was provided by the Chamber of Commerce, by the way. I didn't come up with this booklet. I want to give mad props to them. They printed out what these 11 initiatives are they're trying to get. They put on the ballot. These are going to be put on the ballot. They haven't got them passed yet, but they really want them all to pass. And I want to talk about a couple of things that happens when you overload a ballot with these ordinance changes. One, it used to be that people would either vote yes to all of them or no to all of them when you overloaded a ballot. That's not really the problem anymore because this is a mail-in ballot. So you have the time to sit down, take a look at your ballot, read through it. You're not being rushed at a polling place. Someone's not, standing behind you in line trying to get their vote. So because we do a mail-in ballot, now we still have polling places. You can actually still go somewhere and vote. But this mail-in ballot, when it comes to the city ordinances and stuff, this gives you a chance to read through it, take a look at it, understand it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this booklet. I'm going to go through this booklet. I'm going to talk about what they kind of talk about as arguments for and against each one of these things. I'm going to give you my opinion and what probably I'll vote. You don't have to vote with me, but if you want to vote with the Underground, you can definitely vote with the Underground. And then I'm going to talk about some other things that are going on in the local political kind of grand scheme thing during this election. And I have a beautiful view, by the way. I'm looking at one of the best views of Pikes Peak, minus a couple of power cables. And that's funny because I was actually talking about how high could someone build in downtown and not obstruct the view of Pikes Peak from different areas in town. That's a subject we're going to have to talk about because there has been some things that have happened in the last few years where they have gone above the 32 foot ordinance. Now that's not something that would necessarily change on a ballot issue, a 32 foot ordinance that says you can't build above 32 feet or 35 feet or whatever it is. They've actually gone above that or allowed businesses to go above that in the years. So as we come up with this new comprehensive plan for Woodland Park, these are things that could change, that could affect the beautiful views of Woodland Park. Thank you to Base Camp for letting me, I contacted the owners of Base Camp. We used to know the owners of Base Camp. Base Camp sold and they've moved locations. Contacted them. They said I could do some political podcasts here and they didn't care. So they love it. So check out Base Camp. All right. This first one that's presented in this book is shall section 3.6 of the City of Woodland Park Charter be amended to provide a stipend for city council members' service and set the amount thereof by ordinance. What your vote means a yes vote will authorize a monthly stipend of $100 for each council member and a monthly stipend of $200 for the mayor, beginning in April 2020. A yes vote will also amend the charter to allow future stipend adjustments to be addressed by council sponsored ordinance and not by referred ordinance, city vote. A no vote will maintain the current charter opportunity for city council members and mayoral stipends to be decided by referred ordinance, which is citizen vote. If approved, the cost of the charter amendment will be prorated for 2020, equaling $7,200. Unless the city council approves a stipend increase in subsequent years, the annual amount will equal $9,600. Arguments for. The argument will be established a stipend for council members and a mayor in recognition of the time and effort referred during the exercise of their service to the community. The opportunity to financially compensate council members and the mayor may encourage a larger number of citizens to consider running for elected offices. Arguments against. The proposed amendment prohibits future referred ordinances, which is citizen vote on stipend changes, increase or decrease. All future changes would be considered through ordinance only. The proposal amendment does not acknowledge the fact that council members and the mayor will continue to be reimbursed for other authorized out-of-pocket expenses incurred in the exercise of official duties. The city charter recognizes the council and mayor as volunteer positions. The lack of a stipend was not limited the number of qualified candidates for council and mayor in previous elections. So it hasn't limited them. So this one's a funny one. All right. First of all, I want you to know that every mayoral candidate, Kelly Case, Navarado, Carr, and Saunier, they are all sitting council members. They all voted yes to all of these amendments being put on, this one included. So they all voted for this to be put on the ballot. Now, remember what I told you. When they put a bunch of ballot initiatives, statistically, they have a 50-50 chance, yes to all or no to all. So a couple of things that I want you to really understand, that if you vote yes to this, you are voting for city council members to be able to set their own pay. That's the biggest kicker here. They say $100 here, $100 there, $200. But if you also vote yes to this, you're voting that city council can set their own pay in the future. They could say, shit, we want $100 a meeting and vote yes to it. And the city would have to pay it. So understand what you're doing when you vote yes to this. You're allowing politicians to write their own damn checks. Bottom line. Now, if you ask me personally and me running for city council, and what I think about a stipend thing for city council members, I'm going to tell you that I didn't get into this for $100 a month or $200 a month. I didn't get into to this because I feel like I'm going to be doing shit. I have turned down donations for my campaign because I don't want to do the paperwork. People are like, can we donate to your campaign? I said, no, because then I have to do paperwork. I don't want to do paperwork. I don't want to be filling out reimbursement shit. I don't want to be worrying about, oh, if I go to this meeting, I get 100, I get 100, I get 100. This is what they're talking about. They say $100 a month, but I have heard rumors that they could set it to $100 a meeting that they go to, which is ridiculous. So, in my opinion, vote yes to this and pay me money. Come on. Vote no. Just vote no. Will there come a time when we pay city council members or when we pay mayoral candidates? Maybe. Maybe. But not right now when we're so far in debt in this city, we can't even pay our debt off, like legally. You didn't know that, did you? We are so far in debt that if we wanted to if someone wrote us a check to take us out of debt today, we couldn't even go buy our way out of debt. We have so much debt that we can't even pay that shit off for another 10. We can't even go to the bank and say, hey, we want an early payoff. Whoever negotiated that deal was an idiot. All right, number two. Number two. How are you going to vote on number two? South Section 5.3 of the Woodland Park Charter be amended to set term limits of 8 consecutive years for board, committee, and commission appointments, as well as adjust removal criteria. What your vote means. A yes vote means that all council-appointed board, committee, and commission members may serve no more than 8 consecutive years. A yes vote means that the phrase of "for just cause" will be deleted from Section 5.3. Appointees shall be subject to removal for just cause and upon two-thirds majority vote of the mayor and city council. A no vote means council-appointed board, committee, and commission may serve indefinitely provided these individuals are reappointed by council at the end of the specific term they fill. A no vote means that council-appointed board, committee, and commission members may be removed from a board, committee, or commission position by the city council for just cause. All right. This is where the real power lies. People ask me why I'm running for council, because council may not have the control that a lot of people think, but what they do have control over are board and committees that really have the control. All right. We're talking about the DDA board. We're talking about the planning commission. We're talking about Parks and Rec. We're talking about all these different boards, Main Street, keep moving. So there are some committees, organizations that exist, but like, I think hands down, term limits are great. Term limits are great. But the reason I'm running for council is because we have put the same people, the same little cliques, we've scattered them amongst our boards back and forth. Council members haven't really gone out and recruited board members, right? And one thing that I will do if I am a council voted council member is I'm going to go out and recruit some people. Listen, you don't have to run for office, but come serve on a board, come serve on a committee, come make some real decisions for this town. And, you know, I may go after young people. I may go after the young folks that are committed to this stuff to try to get them serving on our boards and our committees. This is an important part. If I read this correctly, I would vote yes to this. I would say, yes, I'm down for people having 8 consecutive years. Now, for just cause being taken out of that section so that a council member, a mayor, and a sitting city council could vote someone out of a committee if they didn't like them there without just cause. I think if they're allowed to appoint them, then they should be able to they should be able to remove them at any point without cause. Even if it's simply even just a personality conflict. I think that people change over the time, and when you give people power, all of a sudden you see their true colors. And so I could see how they need to remove people, maybe not because someone did anything intentionally, but they observed something. So I probably will vote yes to this. So if you're keeping track, no to paying council members and mayors, no. Yes to limiting board members. Man, we have some ancient people on our boards today. I'm telling you, the DDA has a dude on the board who was an elected official that refused to update our death records to digitally. Do you understand that Woodland Park death records and Teller County death records are still kept in a storage unit on paper? They don't update them in a digital database. They haven't updated them. They haven't taken and updated the past death records. There are political reasons and corrupt reasons why they have done that. But if I just take that alone, the longtime coroner, Al Bourne, sits on the DDA as an appointed member. That dude doesn't want to update our death records. He damn sure doesn't want to update development in town. He wants to keep development stifled and hindered. He doesn't want no new coming to town. And so he's on a board that controls development in town. So vote yes to limiting to these corrupt sons of bitches that try to stifle growth in town. Bottom line. So bottom line. I'm convinced that the current DDA would build a parking lot in downtown and they would call it development. They would say, well, we developed a parking garage in Woodland Station so people can park and come to our cowhand and come to our Ute restaurant and come to our Tweets furniture store and come do curves. I'm convinced about that. That's who runs the shit in downtown. Oh, by the way, if they get killed here, it's hypothermia. We'll put their death records in a storage unit. Thank you, Al Bourne. I'm convinced they would build a parking lot and be happy about it. So yes to term limits. Yes, so let's get rid of some folks in town without just cause. Let's get rid of them just cause. Just cause we want to see some movement in our town. All right, you keeping track? Shall the Woodland Park City Charter be reviewed and amended to replace gender-specific terminology, phrases, or words with gender-neutral functions, descriptions? Okay. I want to first say this has nothing to do with genderless bathrooms. This is not the city trying to say we want to change the genders, okay? This has to do with like some very specific he, him, and his words. This is more about sexism, all right? Let's just be honest. This is more about, we got two councilwomen on council that are like, I'm not a him, his, or her, him, his, or he, and can it say them? Can it say us? You know, so they want to replace it. Example, the city attorney shall act as legal advisor to and be attorney and counsel for the council and shall be responsible solely to the council. He, the city attorney, shall advise any officer and department head of the city in matters relating to their official duties, when so requested, and shall file with the clerk a copy of all written opinions given by him. So, in other words, because there are some references to he and him, what if that city attorney was a her? Right? This one is not I just want you to understand that they tried. There were some people that showed up when this was pushed out there, and they were trying to push that the city was trying to push this new agenda of like sexless bathrooms. And they're saying that sexes don't exist and he and she and girl and guy. Now, for me, it doesn't matter because we still we are bound to a document that was written with feather and ink. Right? We were bound to a document that didn't have a woman's signature on it, the Constitution, right? And so when I look at these, this amendment here about gender specific stuff, and I go, I understand why they want to change this. On the flip side, if you vote no or vote yes, it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. This is like legal jargon is what they're changing. They're changing. So a yes vote means all words or phrases in the charter that specifically identify male gender, e.g., he, him, his, etc., be replaced with gender-neutral language. I already read that. A no vote means all charter language that is male gender specific will remain in place. Physical impact. One-time cost for staff time associated with identifying all words, phrases, and terminology to be replaced. Further cost to reprint copies of revised charters and amendment. Note, if any initiative passes, the charter will need to be revised according and copies printed and posted on the city's website. So what they're saying is if any one of these things pass, any 11 of these things pass, they would have to revise the charter. So there would be some cost, but it would be minimal cost to change this. Arguments for gender-specific language may not be relevant to certain groups and may discourage qualified persons from applying to positions that are masculine. Functions-based language is not specific to any gender and provides more flexibility. Arguments against. There is no legal or statutory basis for gender-related language modifications in the city charter. So they're saying that the only argument against would be that there's no legal reason. It is understood that he or she could mean he, his, or whatever, him. And so it's political correctness. Maybe it's appeasing a couple of females on council. If you vote yes to this, it's appeasing. Maybe it's attracting more people because it looks more natural to people to say, hey, I could do that position. I'm going to leave this one up to you because I don't have a specific. I'm probably going to vote yes to change this, just because that's probably like the smart, logical thing to do is just say, oh, yeah, this was written with feather and ink years ago by a bunch of sexist men. Of course they put he, his, or his. I mean, there are writings all over the country. People change the freaking Bible. And so people like to read the Bible that they like has been changed for them, you know, NIV, King James, all that shit. So changing a document so that people will be more attracted to it, I'm down with that stuff. It doesn't really impact anyone. It's not going to affect a bunch of legal decisions made. So what else we got? A yes vote. Okay, so the next one is Section 1516 of the City of Woodland Park Charter be amended to remove penalties for violations of the city charter. To remove penalties for violations of the city charter. What your vote means. A yes vote means that the mention of penalties or violations of provisions of the city charter will be deleted from the charter. A no vote means violations of the charter by city staff, city council members, or citizens may be the basis for legal remedy. None. Arguments for no significant issue found in the charter. Necessity of prosecution. Arguments against retention of this option may encourage strict adherence to all charter mandates. I'm going to vote. It means that the mention of penalties and violations. I'm going to vote yes to this. I'm voting yes because I'm an effing rule breaker. And I don't want them coming after me. Bottom line, you do what you want to do. Shall 9.13 of the City of Woodland Park Charter be amended to align the deadline for the annual audit date to the current state statute? Okay, this has to do with like Darren and the attorney saying we should be more aligned with the state statute. Now, Here's arguments for and against what your vote means, okay? A yes vote means the city annual audit will occur at the same time as the prescribed by state statute CRS 291606 submission of reports. With some exemptions, this would be 6 months after the close of the fiscal year. A no vote means the city will continue to undergo an annual independent audit 120 days after the close of the fiscal year. Fiscal impact, none. Arguments for: allow greater flexibility to conduct of a very time-consuming process executed by external personnel. Arguments against: a mandate completion date forces internal compliance and record keeping that will facilitate a timely audit throughout the fiscal year. You know what this is about is city timing, giving employees a little bit more time to get their shit together, to get all that together. I'm down with a yes on this. It gives them a little bit more time to get their stuff together, understand what they're, just make sure that they're ready for that audit. Some of these are about control, like, hey, we want our money. We're going to get to some more control things on these amendments. So stick with me and come back and watch it, timestamp it or whatever. I know this stuff can be boring, but these things actually will change where you live. Some of these are very meaningless. He, she, all that little gender crap. We're going through some meaningless ones right now. Term limits mean something, but some of these they slid in there just to try to get them done. The money thing, the gender thing. There are some very important amendments that if they happen or don't happen, will affect your city. And don't just a flippant vote, yes or no, makes a difference. And so understand what you're voting for. This is a mail-in ballot. So you take your time, read through this stuff. All right, here we go. City of Woodland Park. Charter be amended to clarify the department employment responsibility of the chief of police. What your vote means. A yes vote means the chief of police, like all other department heads, will select and assign all employees in the police department. A no vote means the city manager will continue to have a charter responsibility to assist in the selection and assignment of the police department personnel. I'm voting no to this, and here's why. Right now, the chief of police has demonstrated very poor decision making when it comes to personnel and police officers. We've talked about this on the underground before. We want to have an incorruptible law enforcement agency, and having the police chief have a little bit of accountability on who he's hiring and firing, and leaving that still as a paired thing with the city manager makes me feel a little better, because it's going to keep one of the most powerful people in town in check. That's all there is to it. When you remove that check balances, and that's why this is there, it's to keep the police chief in check. And trust me, we know that police chief around the country, even some of our corrupt officers who have gone down to like one of the corrupt department's monument where the police chief beat his wife and called the monument cops out into El Paso County and tried to circumvent stuff. Police chief positions are powerful, very powerful in this town, and they need to be kept in check. So I'm saying vote no means the city manager will continue to have a charter responsibility to assist in the selection and assignment of police department personnel. Absolutely very important. So I'm voting no to that. Arguments for: clarifies the department employment responsibility of the chief of police, ensures that the chief of police has the same ability of all other department heads to make employment decisions and determine department work schedules. Arguments against: would eliminate the city manager's charter directed role in assisting with duties assignments in the police department. I absolutely would argue against that. This would also remove checks and balances to keep corruptness out of our department. It may be a thing where the city manager feels overloaded. It may be a thing where you can't handle that responsibility and we got to find someone else for your job. Or it could be the chief trying to slide in a little bit more control, a little bit more power, a little bit. And listen, the department of the police chief and the department of the garbage is not the same to me. The department of Parks and Rec is not the same to me when it comes to the security and safety of our residents in our town and keeping an incorruptible law enforcement. So keep those checks and balances around the most powerful people in this town. And I think one of these checks and balances is keeping the city manager's charter responsibility. Boom. Shall Section 6.2 of the City of Woodland Park Charter be amended to have the clerk of the municipal court report to the city manager or designee instead of city council? Now, or designee is very important because the city manager could pass this off to someone else. A yes vote means that the municipal court clerk will report directly to the city manager or designee instead of the city council. A no vote means the municipal court clerk will continue to be hired, supervised, or terminated by city council. This is about checks and balances. City clerk, very powerful position in town. Checks and balances. Do you want more control over what happens in your city government, or do you want less control over what happens in your city government? You see, they slide these in the middle of these little arguments trying to say, boom, we want to remove a check and a balance on the city clerk. No, this should absolutely stay with city council. Absolutely, it's a check and balance. Vote no. Arguments for: the clerk does not have a habitual access or exposure to city council, and therefore the council may not be familiar with the clerk's workload or responsibilities. The city manager does have direct knowledge of the clerk's workload, administrative requirements, and day-to-day responsibilities. The city council is responsible for selecting the municipal judge, and the clerk works directly for the judge. Some would argue that council would continue to have oversight of both positions. I think they should, because the city council is over the municipal judge and should stay over the clerk. This is checks and balances for you. Where this affects you is when you have to go to court. And if the city clerk or the city judge is doing something, you want to have a representation from the people. Checks and balances. Vote no to that. I can't believe they're trying to circumvent. These charters were written for a reason by people who had thought this stuff through and who had looked at other charters. That's all I'm saying. Shall Section 3.4 of the City of Woodland Park Charter be amended to use state standards for elected and appointed officials? This goes to the age. This is mainly about age, okay? A yes vote means to be eligible to be elected to the office of mayor or council member. An individual must be a citizen of the United States for not less than 1 year and is at least 18 years of age. A no vote means to be eligible to be elected to the office of mayor or council member. An individual must be a citizen of the United States for not less than 7 years and is at least 21 years of age. There's no physical impact as far as cash. Arguments for: aligns with state statute eligibility requirements, both citizen and age. Aligns with U.S. military eligibility, which is 18 years of age. Arguments against: an 18-year-old may not be mature. Oh God, that's such a stupid way to write that. Or have the life experience of an older candidate. Well, let's get something first straight. Scientifically, a male man his frontal cortex isn't done developing until he's 25. I don't know about the females. This is the old argument of 18 versus 21. Now, we just upped our 21 age to smoking. So what we're trying to do now is say that an 18-year-old can go fight for us, can vote for us, can serve on city council, but they can't smoke cigarettes. This really is up to you. If enough 18-year-olds will get out and vote in 2020, you can vote no to this and shoot this down. I have a stinking suspicion that the older generation is going to vote no to this because they don't want 18-year-olds, or what I'm saying, the opposite. 18-year-olds could get out and vote yes, and all of a sudden now they could sit on city council, they could do this, they could do that. I think the older generation is going to vote no and say we want to keep the kids off council. So this one's up to you guys. And when I talk about you guys, I'm speaking to the high school age guys that have just graduated, that have an electoral obligation to vote. You could pass this in Woodland Park. I'm very interested to know how many registered 18-year-olds are out there that are going to actually vote in the municipal election. I'm interested. And if this thing passes, if it passes, it will be because a number of 18-year-old to 21-year-olds, that little young age said, little younger age said, hey, we have a voice. We have a voice. I would say register and vote. And if you register and vote and you want to be able to run for council at 18 years of age, by God, do it. Boom. Shall 4.3 in the section. Oh, here's, I read those 18-year-old. Okay. And the section through of the Woodland Park City Charter be amended to remove the personal merit board. A yes vote means all references to a personal merit board be deleted from the city charter. A yes vote means all implied and explicit authorities assigned to the personal merit board will be eliminated. A no vote means the city charter will continue to authorize the establishment of a personal merit board along with all implied and implicit authorities. Arguments for state and federal labor laws already provide for an employee and employee grievance and appeal system. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the Personal Merit Board, contradicts the EEO Commission's authority for arbitration in the EEO matters. The Personal Merit Board creates potential legal risk to the city. The Personal Merit Board blurs the responsibility of the city manager and the exceptions of the employees being in an at-will employment relationship as required elsewhere in the city charter. Arguments against the Personal Merit Board could provide a neutral sounding board for employees' grievances through without any arbitration authority. The Personal Merit Board, as identified in the current city charter, has never entertained any employee grievance or claims. Okay. Arguments against the Merit Board, as identified in the current city charter, has never entertained any employee grievances or claims. So this is like an extra board. It's like an extra employee board. So it was probably created at a time when they had some issues, you know. I would vote against getting rid of it. So I guess that would be a yes vote, only because to me, like it hasn't ever been used. And it's like trimming the fat. We got a lot of stuff that we have to really focus down on. And when things like, sometimes you got to trim the fat on these boards because you're spreading people who are dedicated. They're dedicated citizens to serve on committees and community organizations and boards. And you create another board that you have to fill. Most of the time it gets filled with someone else who's on another committee. And so I'm down with getting rid of them, especially, listen, if it violates worker rights and we haven't ever used it. You know, if they were to say, hey, they had entertained 15 claims, you know, and had to, you know, negotiate stuff without going to court, well, then there would be a valuable reason for it to be there. But because they haven't ever done anything, vote yes. Get rid of that shit. All right, number 10. Shall the City of Woodland Park Charter be amended to remove specific requirements from the charter by recodifying the requirements for the budget into the city ordinance for future flexibility and best practices. A yes vote will repeal the charter section 9.5 through 9.8, which describe the annual city budget process to include budget submission date requirements, capital improvement summaries, public hearing requirements, and council amendments to the budget. A yes vote would replace the section 9.5 through 9.8 with single section, a new section 9.5, directing the city manager to submit an estimate of the probable expenditures for the next fiscal year on or before the third Thursday in October each year. A yes vote will result in the inclusion of the deleted charter section into the new municipal code, Title 3, Chapter 1, to address city budget procedures, a capital program, budget hearing, and council argument and council amendments. A no vote will result in the retention of these budget-related directives in the city charter. Unknown at this time, physical arguments for the charter's budget-related process directive to the city manager and the city council are inflexible and cannot be modified in a timely manner to reflect unforeseen obstructive to compliance, i.e. information technology failures, the impact of man-made or natural disasters, loss of key accounting personnel, or future technology improvements. Incorporating a budget-related process directive in city code will provide more flexibility in compliance and final budget execution. Implementing physical management best practices relevant to the budget process will be more efficient through municipal code, council vote, than if required to be implemented in the city charter citizen vote. Arguments against charter mandates, especially those related to budget process timelines for strict compliance. If these budget-related directives are codified through city code, there may be a tendency for the city staff and council to be more accepting of process delays. This is control. This is control. They want to take some control out of the citizens' hands. I'm going to vote boom. I'm going to vote this one down, no, because I see it as checks and balances. I understand that the city management and the city manager and the city employees are looking at this as an efficiency thing. There is some efficiency things that probably could be fixed in this, but I'm going to still vote that this remains to change these things, to redefine where funds go and stuff like that. I'm going to say we take it to a city vote because it's your money. Take control of it. All right. This one is very important. This number 11, this is the last one. If you've watched this whole video, thank you for watching. You can follow more of the underground over on Facebook. If you're watching from YouTube, if you end up seeing this from, next door, you can find me on Facebook at WP Underground. We're running for city council. This is the last one. We're going to wrap this video up. We're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about some other stuff. I got some other thing. I got some bomb droppers. All right. South Section 1.8 of the City of Woodland Park Charter be amended to modify the standard for citizens initiate charter and municipal code modification petitions. What your vote means. Yes vote means that initiative petitions to amend the city municipal code will be lowered to require signatures of at least 10% of the total number of electors registered. A city vote initiative petition to amend city charter will be increased to require signatures of at least 15% of the total number of selected voters or registered voters. A yes vote means that the initiative to amend the city charter must pass with a margin of at least 10% or at least 55% of the votes cast. A no vote means the initiative petition to change the city charter will continue to require the signatures of at least 5% of the total number of electors registered to vote. A no vote means the initiative petition is changed. The city ordinance will continue to require the signatures of at least 15% of the total number of electors to register to vote. Arguments for the here. Listen, this is about control. You want to vote no to this. Difficult game requires signatures. Yep. Vote no. Vote no. Vote no. This is control. Vote no. Vote no. Vote no. You need to understand something. In Suzanne Leclerc, who is the city clerk, in her tenure, she has never had to entertain a ballot initiative with a number of people signing. Okay, it's never happened. All right, it's low now. 5% is low, but this is so that the people can speak. This is so that you can say, you know what? I want to put this to a vote of the people. I'm going to go out. I'm going to knock on doors. I'm going to get 5% of the signatures, and boom, we're going to get this on the ballot. Vote no to this, people. They are trying to take your control, trying to take your voice away. That's what I see. That's what I see. I'm done with these initiatives. Arguments for and against, go home. Be educated about what you're voting for this year. There's 11 ballot votes that actually matter. Now, when it comes to mayoral race, vote anybody but fill in the blank. You know who I'm talking about. The guy who has littered our town with political signs, the guy who says he's done this, done that, and he's stuck in the dark ages, the guy who actually is trying to get paid. He's trying to get paid to be, if it was up to him, he would have a strong mayor of Woodland Park, and he would run the shit around here. So vote no to Val Carr. Thanks for watching The Underground. My name's Michael. You'll find me on the ballots as Michael the Underground Dalton for council. You don't have to give me all your votes. I only need one. Give me one of your votes. That's all I need. You got lots of votes to make. You got lots of things you're voting on. All I need is one. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Did this in 45 minutes on a Saturday morning talking politics. We could talk DDA, bypass, cops. We could talk all kinds of stuff, but I think I've left you with enough today. You can pick one of these books up downtown. If you haven't already, you can pick a little booklet up and read it all for yourself downtown. You can get it off the city website. I think you can get it off the city website. I could be lying about that. The city website's a mess, so I don't know yet. I know you can get one over at the Chamber of Commerce for sure. Go check them out. Hey, and remember this, March 3rd at the high school auditorium, we will be having a political debate hosted by the high school civics class. God knows kids can be crazy, so who knows what's going to happen during that thing. We'll talk to you later. Remember, vote the Underground for council. I'm out.